Many Malaysian startups face challenges in getting funding to start their businesses. Over the past few years, there has been a new innovative way to raise capital for small businesses. This concept is referred to as equity crowdfunding, where it allows public to invest money and contribute to the growth of the startup. Traditional method of raising funds through IPOs was more than 3.5 billion ringgit in the last 2 years, but equity crowdfunding, launched 2 years ago, has managed to attract a small number of investors. As of June 30th, a total of 16 million ringgit has been raised for 23 businesses through licensed platforms. Malaysia's largest equity crowdfunding platform, Pitch In, is optimistic that the crowdfunding space will improve in the coming years. Its Chief Operating Officer, Nathan Munusami, expects the platform to raise around 15 million ringgit by the end of this year due to stronger momentum of investments in the crowdfunding space. He also says it is harder for early startups to raise funds compared to matured startups, as investors need to be convinced by traction and revenue.
Today, if you look at the atmosphere, a lot of people are calling it a winter in funding. I don't really agree so. I think it's harder for startups at a very, very early stage without much traction or without any validation of the business model to raise funds. But on the other perspective, mature startups, the big boys, are finding it very easy to raise, and they're raising funds on a much more bigger scale.
But Cradle Fund, an agency under the Ministry of Finance, provides early-stage startups funding. Its Chief Operating Officer, Razif Abdul Aziz, says that good deals have also not been easy to come by.
Yes, it will appear like there are very few and far between. I mean, maybe we'll do 2 or 3 pitch sessions, 1 or 2 will spring up. We'll stick on the mind, and those guys are the ones. But I think again, it's just how the market is evolving. I think startups are beginning to realize it's tough out there. There is a great deal of difference between the earliest entrepreneurs that first come to the scene, between then and now. I think startups or entrepreneurs are more sophisticated now, more informed.
One of the issuers, an online baby products company, Baby Dash, main concern was that equity crowdfunding has an awareness problem, and not many know what it is.
Not easy, because a lot of the whole concept of equity crowdfunding is fairly new in Malaysia. No doubt you've seen many companies go live already since, but the kind of questions that we've had to deal with, a lot of people thought they're trying to get accustomed to the fact that you're investing in a startup company or a high growth company, as opposed to like some of the older investors would ask you things like do you have a dividend policy, and those kind of questions, which is typical for more mature companies that are already listed.
The point is, it is really an education process. One of the things we also realized was it's sharing our story, right? At the end of the day, equity crowdfunding or investing in a startup is about investing in the people of the startup, not so much the idea or the app that you've built or the website you've built. It's more investing in people and believing that they can execute on what they say they want to execute on.
Given Media Prima's recent acquisition of Rev Asia, a digital media startup, Razif expects the merger and acquisition activity to increase nationwide from crowdfunding, which was previously unheard of.
Organic development, like people are starting to M&As and stuff, right? The big guys are buying up the digital media guys. This is what I mean by corporates getting into the act. The people are realizing that this is the new frontier. Or this is a way a different way to, a different revenue stream perhaps. So.
Another concept of crowdfunding is peer-to-peer or P2P financing, where individuals invest money in small companies in the form of debt through licensed platforms. Funding Societies Malaysia, a regional P2P financing platform launched in February this year, has already disbursed 2.5 million ringgit from 9 companies in less than 4 months. Its CEO Wong Kah Meng says the net return for investors is around 8 to 12% per year, higher than returns in fixed deposit or stock market.
So we see there is a huge gap in terms of financing for SMEs across the region. It's not new, the business model is not new if you look at the global context, but in Southeast Asia it is fairly new. So we started off in Singapore 4 to 5 years ago. Malaysia is the first country to regulate P2P financing, and hence we see this as a good step forward in terms of ensuring that the industry actually thrives.
Wong believes more needs to be done in terms of awareness programs by the relevant authorities to bring the industry together. The two different asset classes of investment through issuing debt or equity with different return trade-offs is now an option for investors to diversify their investment portfolios. Zunaira Saieed, The Star TV.